What's up, y'all? It's Daniel the Shoemmelier, and welcome to the second video in a series of 12 where I list my top/favorite sneakers released of the year so far. Why 12? Well, because there are 12 months in a year, and as we tend to do at the end of the year, we release our best of lists. But based on an idea given to me by one Taylor TG Tweedle Dunk Graybill, I decided, why don't we release a video every month where I count down the best sneakers that were released so far. But the catch is, every month I lose one spot. So in the first video that we released in January, I have 12 sneakers. And this month, which will cover January and February, I only get 11. So that's right, by the time we get to December, I basically only get to list one shoe, the shoe I deem my favorite/top sneaker release of 2025. So if you want to catch up based on what I said for January's releases, go back and check out that video. But this one will focus on all the shoes that were released to the public in January and February. Now, this list will not include sneakers that were released only at NBA All-Star Weekend and not open to the general public. So if you were able to get the SB4 in navy or a Nigel Brick by Brick, that won't count until they're officially released in March, based on information we have at this time. However, there were shoes that were released at All-Star Game, but a week or 2 weeks later were released to the general public, so that counts. The Union Jordan 1s do count because you could enter the raffle to get them from a general release, even though they will be releasing again, rumored, on sneakers later on in March. So Unions can be on this list. Nigel's, Brick by Brick, SB4 Navies, not exactly. So with all those guidelines out of the way, let's get to my list of my top/favorite 11 sneakers released in 2025 so far. Coming in at number 11 is a shoe that I bet a lot of people wouldn't put on a list as of now, but because I'm a big Adidas stan, because I like Jerry Lorenzo and I like Fear of God, and I hope that they can have some sort of come up from what they've been doing, but the odds are probably against. I put it number 11, the Adidas Fear of God athletics trainer in that night brown and sesame colorway. I think it's a really cool looking shoe. It's very comfortable. It is a little different from the initial sample, and he put on his Instagram, Jerry Lorenzo, of the evolution of that design. I think it's a great looking shoe. I don't wear his shoes to hoop. They're for lifestyle purposes, much like any other basketball shoe that I may or may not list. But regardless, I think it's a shoe worthy of a little bit of hype from people who love it, because I don't think it's going to get any hype at all from sneaker culture in general. It did sell out, though I'm not really certain how much it sold out or how much they made or any of that information. But to me, it's definitely one of my favorites. But because it's at number 11, if it stayed in its spot, it would lose next month, because again, we lose one spot and we only have 10 for the months of January, February, March. But right now, it's on the list, number 11. Coming in at number 10, the Nike Air Jordan 3 Lucky Shorts. I consider the Jordan 3 one of my 3 favorite Jordan silhouettes overall. The 11, the 4, the 3. That's right, the Jordan 1 is in 4th place. I don't know what I'd put in 2nd or 3rd because the 11th is 1, but I know the number 1 is 4th. So the Lucky Shorts, I like how understated this shoe is, and I know this is blasphemous. I love how the elephant print is basically not there. That is the one thing that I don't like about the 3, and it is why the 3 is 3rd on my list of favorite Jordan silhouettes. The elephant print keeps it from being number 2. Anytime a collaboration or a different type of storyline or colorway comes out and the elephant print is muted or not there, I'm on board. Why I think this shoe is one of my top 11, number 10 favorite sneaker release of 2025 so far. Number 9, the Jound and Adidas Superstar, made in Japan. Yes, Adidas has been doing these collaborations and silhouettes of a made in Germany, made in Japan, to give us a higher quality premium materials. It may look like your everyday normal Superstar or Gazelle or whatever silhouette they decided to use, but I really like the quality, the way this shoe looks. I don't own it because I didn't grab it, and I'm not going to pay the resale prices that it's listed for unless it comes down a little bit further. But regardless, I think it's a really great looking shoe. Obviously, the materials seem very premium, very plush, very exquisite. People might think it's a little boring, similar to the Fear of God that I had on there, but I can't not have this shoe on the list, which is why it's in there firmly, solidly in the top 11. At number 8, our third Adidas related shoe, the Adidas AE1 Stormtrooper. Now this is a low shoe and it's white and it's black. And some have called it the best of Adi 2.0. I think that's the official name, but most people are colloquially referring to it as the Stormtrooper. I love this silhouette. I like the high, I like the low. I think it's insanely comfortable. And as someone who, again, only wears basketball shoes for lifestyle purposes, I could wear this shoe pretty much all day, especially if it's not tied super tight, because again, I'm not trying to break some ankles, certainly not trying to break my own ankle. It's a good travel day shoe because I can slip it on and slip it off. I think it's a great looking shoe. It's very comfortable, I already mentioned, and it was kind of consensusly the shoe of 2024. And while I'm not in a big hurry to see the AE2, I think there is a lot of life left in this AE1, especially if they release some of those player colorways. But regardless, this AE1 Stormtrooper, definitely one of my favorites released so far. A shoe that I was so lucky to hit for retail on his own personal site, I believe. I think it's still going to release again more generally. It's the Joe Freshgoods and New Balanced Aged Well. This is a great looking shoe. It looks like the quality is going to be amazing. I have not received it yet. I don't even know that I've received shipping information for this shoe just yet. But regardless, I'm a big fan of what Joe Freshgoods brings to New Balance. If you were to watch any of my videos where I list my favorite designers, sneaker designers and collaborators, he was high up on that list. And this was a shoe that I most definitely loved the minute I saw the pictures of it. And then when you learn more about the story, just all this kind of stuff, for my money, Joe Freshgoods is one of the best designers and collaborators out there for sneakers. And this colorway on this silhouette certainly reinforces that opinion, not just held by myself, but by other people out there. It's in the list. It's very high on the list. And it will continue to remain on this list for some time, depending on what releases. But spoiler alert, I don't see this shoe dropping out by the third video, maybe even the fourth video, but we'll see. At number 6, just outside the top 5, the Nike Air Foamposite 1 Galaxy. The initial release is one of those tent poles, those benchmarks in modern day sneaker culture. I wasn't there. I wasn't outside, as the kids say, for this particular release, but I've heard the stories. I've seen the pictures. I've read all those things. I realize how important this release is sneaker culture. Arguably the second most famous release story. You would put the Pigeon at number 1, right? Pigeon at number 1, the Galaxy at number 2. Would you put the Jordan 11s with the Get Money Boys at number 3? Let me know in the comment section down below, where would you rank the Foamposite Galaxy release, but also what are your top 3 favorite release stories or benchmarks, tent poles, touchstones in sneaker culture. But regardless, this Galaxy release definitely had the people thirsting for it. They wanted this shoe. It's going for a pretty good amount of money on resale, which isn't always a harbinger of whether a shoe is good or not, but it does have a little bit to say about where sneaker culture is right now. I like the shoe. I have the shoe. I don't know when I would wear the shoe though, because it's definitely like an art piece. You're definitely putting art on your feet and you're wearing it out. I don't know that I would wear it for a normal day, but if I was wearing it where there was going to be a lot of eyes on sneakers, especially a sneaker convention type, or going to my favorite sneaker boutique, or anything sneaker related, really, I think that's definitely a shoe I would put on. But regardless, it's definitely a shoe worthy enough to be considered a top release of 2025. Again, number 6, just outside our top 5. Coming in at number 5, it's the Nike Air Jordan 3 Black Cat, a shoe that I think would have been my favorite release of January. I wasn't ranking them yet. I was just trying to figure out who the top 12 are. But as we move in further into the year, I do need to know who to drop out. So that's why these are actually ranked. So every video from here on out will have ranks. In the month of January, it was just 12. That would be my number 1, the Black Cat. This was a shoe that on the Kicking It Social Hour podcast, in their segment Bring 'Em Back, that I had said there was the Black Cat 3 and there was the Gamma 11s. Both shoes that apparently I will get to have by the end of this year. So thank you to the Nike people who listened, and you're welcome for the idea. The Black Cat 3, a great shoe, understated elephant print again, and it's all black. And as Dr. Greg Groby from the Kicking It Social Hour says, you can't miss me with an all black shoe. It's a great looking shoe. I'm glad to have it. I don't know if I'm ready to say that I like it more than the Black Cat 4, but it's close. I think Dr. Greg Groby would think I'm crazy to even suggest that, but I think I like the 3. Don't tell him that unless he I don't want to get fired. Number 4, the Union LA and Nike Air Jordan 1 Chicago Shadow. I was lucky enough to hit on the raffle for this one. It's already shipped. I got the shipping confirmation. I've yet to get my shipping confirmation again from my Joe Fresh Goods Aged Well, but that's a whole other company. Regardless, I'm excited to have this shoe. I don't think it is close in hype or excitement, or I just don't like it as much as the first 2 Jordan 1 releases, but that's okay. And I get the people saying, well, if you wear long pants, you really can't see the top. So how people know that it's that one, I get all that. I don't really care because I'll know. Plus, I put the yellow laces on the Jordan ones. That's just actually all the Jordan releases that I have with Union. I tend to put the yellow laces on there. But I think this is a really strong collaboration and a great release. I will say that if that fragment in Union LA Jordan 1 does come out, which all signs point to yes, that will overtake this shoe because I think that one's better, even though it looks like it's basically the same as the Storm Blue release that we got all those years ago, which I already have. So if it's the same shoe except there's fragment branding, does it make it better or worse? Does it even matter? I'm not really certain. But regardless, the top 5 release, it belongs on this list. Number 3, receiving the bronze medal, they're on the podium, the Nike Air Jordan 1 Bred Reimagined. Now, this shoe, to many people, should be below the Union. It should be maybe below another Jordan 1 that may or may not be on this list. I get it. I get that people are like, it's just another Jordan 1. It's got Air Jordan written. It doesn't have the wings. I am a black toe fan. If you ask me what my favorite Jordan 1 colorway version is, it's black toe. I go black toe, Chicago, maybe shattered backboard. I know I haven't even gotten to band yet, but black toe is my favorite of those colorway, the way they put those shoes together. So that's why it gets a little bump for me on the list, because I love that particular blocking. That color blocking just appeals to me. That's why it's this high on the list. And in a year when you wouldn't have the Bred 85 or a Union collaboration, a Chicago Union, I think this is higher on the list. I think it will suffer throughout the year. It'll suffer throughout time, but still a great shoe. And I think it's being slept on because you can still literally walk into Sneaker Boutique, taking it, and find it on shelf. Not sure if it's in your size or not, but you can find it. I think this is one of those that people are gonna go like, oh man, slept on. I really missed out on that one. That's why it's in this list, and that's why it's number 3. Number 2, the most controversial shoe on this list. And the reason why I say it's controversial is because it technically wasn't released this year, but it was. And it wasn't a general release, but it was. And you didn't know you were actually ordering it or getting it until you had it. And that's the Nike SB Dunk Low Wizard of Oz Ruby Slipper. Now, I understand those that may not think this shoe should be on this list because it was hard to get, it was a restock, and you didn't know that you were getting it. And all of those things, I 100% would agree with you. You're absolutely right. But then it's also, well, people didn't start saying they had it, or they didn't show that they had it until 2025. And it's a shoe that a lot of people want and created so much hype that non-sneakerhead friends of mine asked me, hey, what do you know about this ruby red slipper dunk? My kid's asking me about it, or I saw this thing in the news about it, or blah, blah, blah. Like, it crossed into non-sneakerhead, sneaker culture world, into Gen Pop. So I believe that because it's a shoe that seems to have a really cool, organic, fun rollout, and it was a huge surprise. And yes, I like the shoe, and I don't like a whole lot of dunks. But I saw this, I was like, oh boy, there was no reason for me to buy the Wizard of Oz dunks in the first place because I didn't like them. So there was not a chance for me to like, oh, I suddenly got the ruby red slippers. I didn't like the first one. So in a lot of ways, also, I didn't deserve to get the red. But regardless, I think this shoe belongs on the list so far. But of all the shoes, I would be curious to know what you think about this shoe and whether or not it belongs on a list celebrating the best/top releases of 2025. Especially since I put guidelines to could general population get it. And I said there had to be a general release. And it was, but it wasn't. So I feel like there's a gray line. There's a gray line. Let me know what you think in the comment section down below. Does it belong on this list? For whatever reason, let's talk about it. Obviously, I think it does. That's why it's number 2 on my top/favorite release of 2025 so far. Which brings us to the #1 release. And I haven't mentioned it yet, so you probably know what it is. As of this taping, it is March 2nd, 2025. That's right, it's the Nike Air Jordan 1 High 85 Bred, a shoe that I was fortunate enough to get. Me and a few Kicking It folks drove all the way up from Austin to Oklahoma City, a 6-hour plus drive to go to the exclusive release at Bryn Mawr in Oklahoma City. And then we turned around and came back. It was 13 or 14 hours of driving, plus maybe an hour and a half, 2 hours on site. So it was a long day to get some shoes. Maybe the farthest, the longest, the most work I've ever done into going to get a shoe, which was cool because it was a car of us, 4 of us, and it was a good time. It was a good time. And so if you're those people that miss lineups or you miss that, or this was like, it harkens to the hunt, the chase for those shoes, which is not really something that happens all that often these days, but it was a lot of fun. The rollout I thought was really smart. It was a PR home run. Marketing was amazing. It was everything about the experience I thought was a 10. And that probably contributes to why the shoe is not only on this list, but #1. And it would be hard pressed to find a release on the calendar thus far that we know about that would knock it too far down the list. But spoiler alert, it will not be #1 after this month. If the shoe that is said to releases in March to the general public, this shoe will drop at least to #2. I'll let you put in the comment section down below which shoe you think will dethrone this shoe, who held the #1 ranking for just 1 month. Black Cat 3 was #1 in January. The Jordan 1 85 Bred High is #1 for the month of February and January when you put it together. It's gonna be #1 in March. Let me know in the comment section down below what you think, who you predict. I'm gonna put it #1. And there you have it. This is my list, my top 11 sneakers released so far, or / favorite releases of the year so far for 2025. Again, when I come back at the beginning of April and release a video covering January, March, we go down to only 10 shoes. Every month we lose a slot. So it gets tougher, not only because more shoes are released, but because I have one less slot to put a shoe. Again, thank you to Taylor TG Tweedle Dunk Graybill for the idea. I'm going to continue this all the way the year. Let us know in the comment section down below what you think of this list. Who's missing? Who is too high? Who is too low? Or who did not belong on this list? I'd love to discuss it with everyone in the comment section down below. And be sure to give this video a thumbs up, subscribe, all that great stuff to let me know you like what's going on this channel, because I really enjoy these types of videos more than just, hey, here's a sneaker review. Here's it on foot. How's it fit? That's fine. I like those videos just fine. But I like these types of videos where I can converse almost like an editorial, an opinion, if you will. So let me know in the comment section down below what you think about these types of videos as well. And be sure to check back for more fun sneaker related type videos, maybe a review or two, but definitely in a month. We talk about the 10 top / favorite sneaker releases of 2025 so far. That will cover January, March. Again, this one's only January and February. So till then, to all of you out there, wherever you are, thanks for watching. Stay tuned and just chill till the next episode.